All right. I'm gonna share my screen. I can't see anyone while I'm doing this, so just give me a second. We'll welcome everyone as they come in. Okay, there we go.
Go.
I don't have my normal setup today, everyone. You'll have to forgive me. I feel like as many of us are probably calling in today, we're not at our normal setup. We're not at our office. I'm calling out of my parents' basement, which is bringing back some college flashbacks. So,
I'm calling from my parents' living room.
yeah. Uh, hope everyone had a great Christmas. If you're celebrating and just enjoy the time while things are a little bit quiet. I know cyber criminals never sleep, so you've all got your eyes and ears on high alert over the holidays. But we are here to not talk about new features today. We are on a bit of a small code freeze for the week just for Christmas. So this is like the one week of the year where we haven't had a big update. So instead, what we're doing is looking back over the past 12 months. We're going to go month by month, look at the features, relate them to, where we are now in the platform. And Ali did a terrific job of pulling this all together, looking back over our change log. So as we're going through this, if there's something that you really you were pushing for and hey, we released that back in August or April or something, feel free to share your favorite features in the chat. But yeah, as we get kicked off here, just thank you to everyone who's joining us here today, the day after Christmas. We're really happy to see everyone, and I'm going to turn it over to Ali to take us through Flashback Friday. And Ali, if there's any preamble that you want to add to this too, just sort of why we decided to do this and whatever, feel free to add that.
Yeah, so I can kick us off here. So, um, first of all, thanks everybody for jumping on with us for this Flashback Friday. And if you're watching later on YouTube or wherever you may find this video, just to call out that when Mark and I had this idea to do this, and Kelsey and we were kind of chatting about it, and we were like, what should we do on the 26th to wrap up, right? Because we know we won't do a big release on Christmas night. Although our engineers are crazy and they probably would have if we asked them to, but we know we're not going to do a release on Christmas night. So what should we do on that Friday? And we all kind of came together and realized that we've released so many things this year, whether it be, LLMs or features or improvements or whatever it may be. That we were like, let's kind of do a review of some of the things that we thought were the best and we thought were like the most important for our workflows. And then as I kind of started doing it and going through and summarizing all the great things the engineering team has done this year, we were like, actually, let's just go through a high level summary, month to month of kind of what we did and why. But my big main call out here is that this is actually nowhere near everything that we did. We bubbled up into some key themes, but if you want to like really see a more granular breakdown of everything we've done, check out our change log on Canny. Because that'll really show you week by week what we've released. And it was really cool to see, in January we had two releases, February we had two releases, and then, as the months kind of went along, we had so many. But going through that and everything we've released, also we're doing this because we realize there's so many things that we've released and we've done that sometimes even we forget about. And we're in Hats all the time. So this is kind of our time to show you maybe some cool features you forgot about. Maybe if you missed it on a feature Friday, or you weren't a partner yet, or you just haven't used the platform in that way. Use this as kind of a refresher, but also to let us know what you want to learn more about. As we kind of head into feature Fridays going into the new year, we have some really fun ideas, maybe some integration specific, some feature specific, maybe adding on not just on Friday, but adding on some other meetings based off of what our partners would like to see. So, if you hopped on with us this morning, thank you. You'll be the first ones to be able to provide your feedback. And let us know what you want to see and kind of what other flashbacks we can do in the future.
And Ali, just to add on to that, I know I don't know the exact number, but many hundreds of you, if you're, I know we only have 30 people in here right now, but if you're watching the recording of this, there are many hundreds of you literally who joined Hatz as a partner after a lot of these features. So if you joined in September, a lot of these features weren't new, they were just here. But if you want to learn more about what what those are, you can go back and watch our feature Fridays, but the recordings, but um, always happy to add new modules to the learning portal, add new videos to these, like Ali said. So if you're confused about something, just let us know. And also I added we have a year in review. I love these little elf costumes.
I couldn't get rid of the festive. It's still festive.
It is so fun. I just wanted to, before we actually show the features, all of this relates back to what we do, what problems we solve for first. The security side is always running. It's a perpetual part of the platform, but the new features that we add are to help you increase AI adoption in your MSP and with your clients. So all of these features, none of them are made just on a whim. They're all added to help that adoption journey, make things easier to use, and give your users um, better control over what they're using AI for, and help make it more practical and pragmatic. So, all right, Ali, back to you.
Alrighty. So I know we've been talking a lot about the different LLMs, when to use them, how there's so many in the Hats platform. So I felt like as we kind of went on this journey through our maybe our Hats wrapped or a recap of the year, starting with the LLMs that we were using in Q1 for me. Was, kind of crazy because you talk about all of these, OpenAI's O1 and O3 mini, GPT 4.5, right? All of these LLMs that we were using in Q1 that were so big and so innovative at the time that now, right, we probably never really think to click into them. So
Yeah.
let's keep going through here. So
Yeah.
we're going to kind of start with the LLMs. Alrighty. So if you were a partner back in January, it's funny because our releases in January that seemed so big back then now are probably small things that our engineering team would push out in a couple minutes. But back in January, if you were with us, we added drafting and saving. We added auto saving, draft discarding, and the ability to save apps privately, as well as the integration between our LMS, our learning portal, and the platform. So that may seem like some two things that are, so intuitive now, but for us back in January, these were big and innovative. I will call out, we did just say apps because we did not even have workflows or the workshop in January. So if we want to,
Yeah, and just with the learning portal, this was huge because there were so many MSPs who said, "I've got my clients are signing up. I don't want to have to, manually add people." So they were sending us CSVs of all of their users' email addresses and saying, um, "Will you add these to the learning portal?" So I was going in manually creating an account for them, sending them a login code. It was a whole thing manually. So this allows you to just click in platform onboarding, in platform training, huge quality of life improvement, at least on our end.
alrighty. And then, we did a bunch of other smaller things in January too, but our big two from February were we added dark mode, which I know most of our engineering team operates solely in dark mode. I like to flip back and forth,
Yeah.
but we added the ability to do dark mode and the Hatz API key generation. So the Hatz API key generation is still available for client admin, MSPs admins, and client admins in the customer tenant. We have great API documentation in docs.hats.ai. We'll link you to the API documentation. Just to call out, we don't offer like full support for API at the moment, but we do have a bunch of documentation that can help you to leverage it and get to where you need to be. As well as, like I said, it's available for admins in the end customer tenants and MSP admins. So this is when we wanted to call out because sometimes we feel like people just stumble upon it on accident and then they have some questions about the API key. But this is we did that back in February. Alrighty. And in March, we met Lark Reaper. Not to be confused with Mark Leaper. So Lark Leaper was introduced in March, when we realized that the job was just too much for Mark Leaper. We started adding a bunch of new partners, and this is when our engineering team was really fully formed and developed, and we really kicked into faster releases, more features, and the AI landscape itself too just exploded with all new different types of features and things that we'll continue to go through. But so in Hatzland, we launched the AI Help Center. And that's something too to call out. We added over 220 articles to the AI Help Center this year, whether that be to assist with adding users or reviewing an integration or reviewing a new feature. We've also added, the scripts from Mark's training courses, right? So we've been training Lark all year long, to be the best that he can be. But we started doing that in March. And then also some other, cool features. We added the ability to upgrade packages, and we did some great RAG improvements in March as well. And this is when we, really started to hit stride with our feature releases. And the engineering team really came to a strong formation in kind of our release cycles.
And with the RAG improvements, we, especially our go-to-market team, when we're, meeting with new partners, they tend to get a lot of questions about RAG, and, RAG's kind of an AI buzzword. It's used in a lot of, it's kind of becoming more of a household name or a household term like LLM was. And RAG is not binary, right? So it's not like we either have RAG or we don't, or you turn it on or you turn it off. It's just a continuous process of improvement. So, like, if you've asked those questions, yes, we have it. It runs in the background, so you shouldn't have to know if it's working or not. It just handles those large documents, handles lots more information better, and you can certainly see, the differences in how large documents have been handled if you've been with us for, more than 9 months at this point.
Yeah. Alrighty, so that was Q1, right? So we had some great stuff in Q1. But like I said, leaving Q1 and heading into Q2, that's when we, really started to hit our stride as far as releasing, and also the AI world itself, right? All of these different models were released in Q2. This is kind of what we were using and what we were loving, right? We had the GPT 4.1 family, Claude 4 Sonnet, Claude 4 Opus, Grok 3, Amazon Nova, Gemini 2.5 Pro, Gemini 2.5 Flash, O3, O4 Mini, Llama 4, the whole Llama 4 family, and we added thinking tokens for reasoning models. So for us, the models that we loved in Q2 was a huge month for us, not only in getting many models into the platform, but this is also when we were able to start adding models in the exact same day that they were released. So I can't remember if it was Gemini 2.5 Pro, or it might have been O3 or O4 Mini, but one of those models, that was the first model where it was released that morning and we had it in the platform that afternoon. So for us, internally, this is a great milestone for us because, our partners and their customers, a new model's out and everybody wants to play with it, as do we. And this was when we really began to have that, same day release cycle as the LLMs.
And this was also a milestone for us on some other fronts. Q2 was when Kelsey started, right? Kelsey, didn't you start in the very beginning of Q2? Am I right about that?
April 1st, and that is not an April Fool's joke.
So Kelsey started. We hit our sort of our event cycle stride. We had better support at events. You didn't just have me, trying to answer all the questions and bring people into the booth. Kelsey was a friendly, familiar face, and that I think really added a lot of personality to us in the channel. So this is a huge milestone for us on the customer facing, client facing, partner facing front as well.
Alrighty. So now we are in April. So April was a big month for us on the platform side, because that is actually when we launched multi-step workflows, which is crazy because I feel like I've been using multi-step workflows forever. But basically, multi-step workflows, as we know from the workshop tab, it just allowed us to chain different prompts together, and use a different LLM for each step. This is also when we really started to leverage AI-powered search. And at the time, if you were here back then, you remember AI-powered search was just one button, right? We had no tool selector. There weren't tons of tools. We just clicked that AI-powered search button, and it combined Brave, Perplexity, and Firecrawl. And it did, some more what we call complex research, back in April, which, as we know in the world of AI, things are always moving, evolving, and improving. So these tools are actually, 10 times better than they were back in April. And they're all also their own separate things, with their own, different strengths. So this was a big month for us in April when we launched those workflows. And this is when the Hatz platform really started to feel like the Hatz platform we know and love today.
I was actually on a small vacation when AI powered web search came out, and I remember the use case that I showed for this the first time it came out was I was in Cape May, New Jersey, and we were trying to find a place to eat because we were there in the off season. Everything was closed, and so I said, "Find me somewhere that's open that has these kinds of things on the menu," and it did. It was pretty amazing. So
Mark and I have a, oh my God, this is amazing moment, usually most Friday mornings, when we're testing things out. And we'll have a whole conversation and, oh my gosh, this is how we can use this feature.
yeah,
And I specifically remember that one as well.
yeah.
Alrighty, May. So we made it through April, and now we're in May. So May, while April was about workshop, May was about chat. There was a chat redesign, which allowed us to sort by history, pin chats, and we really focused on that left screen of the sidebar in chat. We also released the new LLM selector, and that's kind of how we, we added a few models in Q1. We added all those models in Q2. In May, we're in Q2. We're adding all those great models, right? All of the different providers are putting out new innovative models. Well, people don't know what to use or, not necessarily how to use them, but what the difference is, right? Speed, how many credits they use, capabilities. So we released the LLM selector. We also then allowed end customers to generate their own API keys, right? Keep bringing up that API key piece. And we realized that back in April, while workflows were so powerful, sometimes we wanted to go back and see the results, and not only see the results and the steps, but how long they took to run, what they ran, and so then we added that workflow run history. And a lot of too, as you'll see as we'll go through the months, a lot of times we release a feature and then a month later we release an additional feature off of that or some sort of improvement. And I know that that's how software engineering and product teams work. However, I do want to call out that a lot of that is due to feedback from our partners and from their end customers. Um, like I said, our candy board, we got, hundreds of feature requests and votes and comments this year that really did help drive this product roadmap, that we're kind of running through and the features that we chose. As well as, getting on use case workshops or attending feature Fridays. So you'll see that a lot of the trends as we continue to go through this are really things that were driven by our MSP partners. Um, and yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty. June. June was a big month. June was a lot about admin controls, a lot about the start of integrations. And that's when we started Feature Fridays. So if you were around and you've been attending since June, you know that Feature Fridays originally started with Mark. I took them over for a little bit and then I didn't want to give them back. So Mark and I started doing them together. Um, as well as Kelsey, who has been tried and true on all of them. So Kelsey's probably been our one constant on these calls. However, Feature Fridays were built because as we're rolling into Q3, in the second half of the year, the engineering team is really picking up speed. And transparently just releasing things so fast that the best way we felt to communicate was to get on with our partners and talk about it with them. Not talk at them, right, and tell them about the feature, but also we wanted these sessions to be collaborative. We wanted partners to be on, asking us questions, giving us examples of how they want to use it, what they'd like to see. And, we use these feature Fridays, not just to review what we've done and collect feedback, but also to get customer facing with our partners, right? It's fun that we're all on this call and it's collaborative and it's not just a recording that me, Mark, and Kelsey do and put out. It's more fun to see how you guys are using it, but also too, it helps us identify the questions that our partners will have, but most importantly, the questions that your customers will have. So that in the new business week, when they're, in the platform using the features, they can give us some updates. So yeah,
Mhm.
June started setting the scene for integrations, those admin controls. MFA can be mandated globally or per tenant, default LLMs. Right, we added so many LLMs in Q1 and Q2. We are able to disable some if we don't want to use them, make a default primary one, and then, continuing to build upon those workflow updates as well.
Yeah, June was a big month.
Yeah. And now these are the models we loved in Q3. And I think someone said Grok 4 before.
Yep.
Grok 4, the GPT-5 family, Claude 4.5 Sonnet, and my personal favorite LLM of the year, Nano Banana. Well, Nano Banana Pro is my favorite, but Nano Banana. And these models were really they were really powerful when we released them. They gave us the opportunity to test out a lot of new different types of workflows, access to different types of tools, and also these were just, fundamentally better than the models that came before them. So for us in Q3, adding new models, testing new models, and the features and functionalities that they could provide was really big and pivotal for us in our workflows.
And I think that this quarter, July, and I would say probably August into September was
Mhm.
when just in the AI sphere in the world, right? In the SMB space specifically, was when people started to realize, oh, OpenAI does not have a monopoly on powerful AI tools. GPT-5 came out, and a lot of people thought it was pretty underwhelming because it came out alongside the best Grok model to date,
Yep.
the best Anthropic model. Google said, "Hey, we're here, and we're actually probably your default in a lot of ways." And I think there was a big shift from thinking about ChatGPT as like the model to use, and now people were actually like Gemini. Like I'm gonna give Gemini a try, and I like Claude. The mindset started to shift around this time. That's what we were seeing online, and I think our usage trends that we were seeing, Anthropic was like the most popular model among our users, and it shifted away from the GPT models, which was pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, I know for me personally too, Claude 4.5 Sonnet was like my model for
Yeah.
most of the year. And I will say too, if you're curious to see what you were using or what your team was using, go in and use that dashboard that we reviewed last week, and we'll talk about that a little later. But check out, the models, the features, what you were using, and it'll be interesting to see what you were using versus maybe what you assume. Alrighty, so now we're in July, and July is when I think I don't want to just speak for Mark and I and for the team, but July is when for us, July and August specifically, we made some really, really cool, fun, improvements to the Hatz platform, specifically code execution and an upload to chats and agents. Code execution, which we actually have been speaking about a lot over the last 6 months. This was when basically we could allow chat to run code. And that's not necessarily like we're putting in Python code and it's running it. Code execution allowed us to better analyze spreadsheets, data, documents, produce documents, um, and also give a little bit more, give the LLL some guidance when using math and correlations, because we know up until this point, LLMs were, horrible at math. So for us in July, we did some big updates with code execution. We did some major improvements to the chat, and we released agents. So July was a big month for us at Hatz.
And personally, I don't remember July at all. I was out the month of July. I also don't really remember August. Our first son was born on July 4th, so I called Jimmy like July 5th, and I was like, I'm going to be out for a bit. So the month of July, I don't remember any of these updates. I remember catching up on them when I came back, but it's all kind of a blur. So Allie, this is when Allie took over Feature Friday. So you started to see Allie a lot more on these kinds of calls and also on the help at Hats. This was when Allie really started to be more partner facing, and it's also where Lark Meeper became really a resource that we were pushing people to. So a lot of cool stuff happened in July, and personally, I think the coolest thing was my son. But these updates are great too. So you know.
Yeah, I will say when Mark came back, Mark was like, "Oh my God." Actually, as we were releasing things in July and August, every time we released some, we're like, "Oh my God, Mark's gonna love this. Mark's gonna love this." And then Mark came back and was, you know, he was excited. I mean, life was
Yeah.
definitely more exciting outside of hats, but he was excited. And yeah, this is when we released agents. We've done so many improvements to agents and this clip here, with sharing agents and sharing to the community or sharing to groups or whatever it may be. This came a little bit later, but I just wanted to highlight because we won't really talk about agents too much in the rest of kind of this presentation today. But I did just want to highlight agents, are something you can add the name, the description, select your categories, give it specific instructions, and that was kind of our third pillar of the workshop that came to be as we were moving into Q3, which kind of gave us, our apps, our multi-step workflows, and our agents. Once we had the foundations of all three of those set, we began to really build and expand upon those objects. So I did just want to call out agents, in July. And this is also, I wanted to do a little call out here about our chat 2.0. So when we went through and made some improvements to chat, the improvements were really focused on how to make chat more usable for not only the end customers and our partners, but also as we're releasing all of these great new features, right? So we released the ability to do chat branching, and this is something that I think is super underrated in the platform. And basically what chat branching is, and Mark, can you replay this video? I don't know why it's not auto looping. Um, and basically, what chat branching is we click that little edit button. We can select whatever model we want to select. And we can go in and change either the LLM, the tool, or the message right in line from within the same chat. And then, as you'll see there, we kind of get those different options. So we can go back or we can go forward. And that kind of gives us a way to test not only prompts, but also the results of different LLMs. Um, I've been known to do a prompt, get the information that I want to get out of it, and then switch to maybe an image generation model and get an image out of it. But chat branching is a huge feature that I feel like sometimes we skip over. So I really wanted to call it out here. This is actually possibly one of my favorite features of the year. Because it really allows you to get comfortable not only with different LLMs, but also with prompting.
I use chat branching all the time. I use it for especially with like the document generation, which there was more updated in December. We'll talk about that. But with document generation, sometimes I think that, Claude, one of the Claude models might do a good job, but then I'm like, actually, I wonder if, this other model would do the same thing. So I just compare the way that it formats documents. It's really cool. So we'll move ahead here. August.
Alrighty. August was a crazy month for the Hats team. If you were a partner in August, or if you were a partner, probably anytime after August, you've probably heard about Integration August. Integration August was a major push by the Hatz AI engineering team, where we actually added a different integration every single day, including the weekends for all 31 days. So we went through a lot of long nights, a release every day. It was crazy. But we released a new integration based off of feedback from partners and more specifically what their end customers wanted to see in the platform to be able to connect to things like Salesforce, HubSpot. We did Calendly, we did Teams, all a bunch of Microsoft integrations, Google Calendar, Google Maps, which is a very cool, underrated integration that I feel like we don't talk about enough. But so Integration August was huge, not only for us on the engineering team, but also for our MSP partners to be able to help provide more use cases and functionality to their end customers. I will say Integration August never ends. We're always working to add new integrations. I did see something pop up in there about custom MCP servers. I know we've gotten that a few times. That's definitely something we're looking at in the new year. And the integrations will not stop. We did a lot of foundational work in the last few months to be able to add more integrations faster with different kinds of authentication connections, as well as working to allow people to be able to connect to custom MCP servers. So I just wanted to answer that one because it felt relevant here. But also in August, we did a revamp of the Adele phone agent. Um, Faster responses, lower latency, improved noise cancellation, and one of my favorite features, the background office noise. So if you've ever talked to one of our Adele phone agents, and you hear the typing, as if they're typing your message, that was a really fun one for us. And this is also when we focused on some image generation, as well as we added one integration, every day. So we talked about that kind of in reverse order. But image generation and that nano banana was a big one for us too.
August was also when we found out the formula for snack wraps to integrations. They are directly proportional. The more snack wraps you feed an engineering team, the more integrations they can churn out. So I think it's like
Exactly that.
I think we found out it's 38 and a half snack wraps to integration. So
Yeah, everyone else was taking vacations in August, and the ads product and engineering team never left the office. So we were like, why do we do this in summer? But it ended up being a really from the office side, it ended up being a really fun month, and it really helped us, push our team to show how much we can release and just how much we can do in those days. Okay, so just to talk about integrations in the current day, we have 40 plus tools and integrations currently available in the Hatch AI platform. Where can you get them? From the tool selector in chat, we have, these built-in tools as well, which I like to call out on top of integrations. So we say integrations, but we also have, Firecrawl, Perplexity, Google Search, Google Maps, code execution, and we'll get into this in a little bit. But we have so many things that you can use in the platform. Something that Mark and I love to say is use AI to use AI. So go to our docs.hats.ai support page, look at the pages for each individual integration. We are working on revamping those to come the new year. So those will be even better and tell you how to use the integration even better. But also, when you're in the platform, log into chat, click on an integration or, name an integration and ask what it can do. This is something that's been super helpful for myself. And I don't think Quinn's on, but also Quinn when we're talking to you in Lark Meeper or help at hats.ai. Sometimes, there's a tool or a platform that maybe your end customers use, but you don't use as much. Turn it on and just ask Hats, why do people use this tool? How can I use this integration with Hats? And it really does give some great feedback and some really cool use case ideas.
I'm going to give you one right now that you can all go try as long as you have Microsoft. right? If you are a company that uses Microsoft Office, go turn on the Microsoft 365 integration and say create a list of or create a table of all of the tool calls that are available and tell me how they work. And it'll give you all of the different actions that that integration can take using AI and what they mean. One of the most common questions we get is how do I get AI to look at a specific file or look at a specific folder? Ask it, turn on Microsoft 365. How can I prompt you to always look at a certain file? And it will give you the exact path that it needs to follow, the exact prompt, and you can say, great, now turn this into an agent for me or turn this into a workflow for me. It can do those things, but sometimes just like Ali said, ask AI to how to use AI.
Alrighty, so we made it through August. Now we're in September. September had some huge releases that I think we talked about a lot, but it's always good to go back and revisit these ones specifically. Hatz Workshop Assistant, the Microsoft integrations, as well as document generation. So these three we're going to double click into a little bit more. But the Hatz Workshop Assistant, and Mark, if you could go to the next slide, I believe that's the next one that we did.
Mhm.
Yes. So the Hatz Workshop Assistant, by definition, allows users to build complex workflows and connect integrations simply by describing what they want in conversational text. The Hatz Workflow Assistant was born basically based off of us, and by us, I mean internally at Hatz, our partners, even our end customers, knowing the use case that they needed, but not necessarily knowing how to get there. And something we talked about on the product team was sometimes the hardest part of starting anything is just putting the pen to paper and figuring out what the first step is. So the Hats Workshop Assistant takes that 10 steps further. But basically, what we can do here is it can create new apps, workflows, and agents, find them, update, understand, duplicate, run, right? It can do all of these great things simply by just selecting the HATS AI Workshop Assistant. So I know I use it a lot when I'm looking to build a use case. Maybe I know I want to connect two platforms, but I'm not necessarily sure how, or I want to create a complex workflow, and I don't really want to write all of the prompts because I know AI will do it better. Using the HATS Workshop Assistant is a great way to get familiar with not only creating workshop items, but also understanding what AI can do. Alrighty. This is my second favorite update that we did this year. As somebody who uses workflows, multi-step workflows a lot for things that I'm going to share externally, whether it be with our partners or with the go-to-market team internally. A workflow I've talked about that I use a lot, I've referenced it on this call, Feature Fridays before, is I take all of the engineering documentation, all of the technical stuff, and I joke and I say, put it in plain English that a 5-year-old can understand. I've now changed it to 15-year-old, but so that I can understand what the engineering team built and why those features are so cool and important for our partners. Uh, a lot of times I already know the features, but AI can just say it better for me. In doing that, I remember when I would have to, copy the workflow result, paste it into a Word document. The formatting was messed up. It was a pain. So here, we got this great export a workflow step to a PDF or to a document, which was great for my existing workflows, right? Because I could just export and have it and share it with the team. But then we took it one step further by actually making a workflow step in multi-step workflows. And this is something I feel like we did not harp on enough, and people don't even know really exists. And we have this great document processing step where you can either get a result of a document formatted the way it needs to be formatted, whether that be with your logo on it or your header or, whatever formatting you need. Or it can also fill in a fillable form fill PDF. This is something that I know we've had a lot of partners use when working with law firms or doctors' offices or anything where there's, standardized form fillable PDFs that you could just push the results into, as well as formatted document templates, whether it be, an email that's going out or, something you need in a Word document that you can download with your logo and whatnot. This document processing step, we have great documentation on it on Larkin Leaper. This is something we definitely don't talk about enough. So when we talked about doing this year in review, I was like, we are talking about chat branching, we are talking about Nano Banana, and we are talking about document processing steps. Those were my big three. So check these steps out. And also check out, exporting your workflow steps because these are two things that for myself who operates, pretty operationally and is always kind of taking the results from my workflow, as most people are. These were game changers for me in September, like really impactful to my workflow.
I don't see him in the chat. I could be wrong, but we have a partner from, and I'm gonna name, and it's not name and shame. I'm gonna name and praise right now. Framework IT came to a use case workshop that we host on Tuesdays, and he said, "Hey, I'm using this document processing step. Can you take a look at, the output and help me figure out some of the formatting issues?" And so we looked at it. This person built one of the coolest workflows I've ever seen. It's like, I think 17 different steps that all kind of start at different points and bring in information, and they use different integrations, and they all funnel down to the final step as a document processing step where he has a template of, uh, I'm not going to share exactly what he's using it for. I don't have permission to do that, but I was blown away by how cool this is. And he said it saves him hours and hours of work of manually taking pieces of data from one document, from another CRM, from this, from that. He can just run it all, and it comes down to this document processing step and creates a predictable template every single time with their logo, with every boilerplate information, everything on it. It's really incredible. So if you want to look at these, this is just a plug for the use case workshops that we run on Tuesdays. So go sign up for those. I think Kelsey's got a link for that.
Alrighty. And now we've made it to Q4. And I think these are all in there. I'm not sure. Nano Banana Pro, I don't think I have shut up about that since it came out. Claude 4.5 Opus, Claude 4.5 Haiku, GPT 5.2, Amazon Nova Lite, and Mistral 3 Large. I will say when we talk about that, getting the LLM in as it's released, when we were releasing GPT 5.2, Jimmy and I were actually on a flight, and Jimmy was coding and doing things from the air train from JFK back to New York City. So when I say we are on 24/7, and we do things fast, we do things extremely fast. And efficiently, but we do things fast. So these are the models we've loved so far in Q4. Some of them are still very new. And as we kind of go into the new year, if you were on Feature Fridays last week, or maybe the week before that, Mark kind of showed his how to choose which LLM model you want to use. Kelsey, as we were going through Hatz, one of those days was also, focused on the guide to LLMs. That's something our partners have expressed that they would really like some more insight on. So in the new year, as we, continue to add new models and maybe, retire some old ones, we're going to continue to document and provide insights on those models, and not just release them, but also, give some more context and share how we're using them and also how our partners are using them. Alrighty, we've made it to October. If you were on our Creature Friday, or any of our fun themed Feature Fridays in October, you'll know we had some big things in October. And you'll kind of see as the months have gone on, we kind of have a little bit more of themes and less of just specific releases. Mostly because we just released so much that it's easier to just kind of chunk them together. So we released group management. We did a major workshop overhaul in October. If you were on for that, that was a big one. Agent sharing, which was also a big one. And then new features like Adele multilingual phone support, bulk user upload. And I included this one in here, even though it was a fix and not necessarily a new feature. But Outlook used to not be able to see recurring meetings. And in October, I don't think he's on, but Matt joined our product team, and that was the first thing he attacked. And that was a big one for anyone using Outlook. So.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So I wanted to just click in here, and this wasn't all released in October, but I just wanted to call out these three pages. We've had a lot of conversations about, enabling our MSPs to better support their end customers, and also just, you know, uh, as people who work, in with secure access in mind, groups, custom permissions, and organization settings in tenants. Wanted to highlight this one. Group management is something that was a huge request. And the team definitely took the time to do it diligently and scalable. So you'll see here kind of that first tab for group management. You can create groups, you can add agents and workflows into groups. You can use groups to keep things secure. You can use groups to keep things in the same bubble. And you can also create groups before you even create users now, which is a great feature we released last week. But groups, as well as custom permissions, right? Permissions also can kind of expand functionality. So permissions will never be used to limit functionality, but we can use custom permissions to be able to give users, maybe with a different role, some more access than they would normally have in that role. And then also the organization settings. So we talked about making a default LLM or disabling an LLM or enforcing MFA. But also, just to highlight, you can now customize your end customers' tenants as well. So if you do not want them to see your MSP logo, or you want it to feel more custom for them, you can add their logo, but then you also have the ability to go in and change their color palette to best match their theming, or you don't have to. But these are all some options that I just wanted to call out. Alrighty. We also talked about the workshop overhaul in October. Again, these are more just some screen grabs and just some high level things that, especially, I know we have a lot of new partners that have been joining. I want to highlight in October, we completely redid the workshop. What does that mean? It really just means that it's faster, sleeker, easier to filter, search by, and find your items, shared items, and community items. I believe that Feature Friday is on YouTube, so I'm not going to get too in the weeds on this, but I definitely recommend you check that out if you're newer to the platform, or if you just want an overview of kind of how the workshop tab was overhauled and all the great things that it does. Um, but this was a big release in October as well.
Yeah. Um, October, we also revamped the training. We had, if you're newer, it's not revamped, it's just the way it looks. But we did have a ton of courses in there. They were for things that don't even exist in the platform anymore because we've made updates to replace old features. And so we boiled everything down to the most important information for the AI champion certification. This is crucial. I would say this is probably this with the next certification that we're going to talk about, the two that we have. Um, this is what you and all of your clients should be focused on. It takes like 45 minutes. We did this because this was when we started our talk track that AI is not just a tool, right? We've kind of been saying that that's been in some of our messaging, but this is a big thing that we say now. It's not just a tool, it's more like an operating system for your business. And this sets your clients up for success with strategic adoption planning, with measuring ROI, tied to that workshop overhaul that we just looked at. It's not just, oh, I'm going to sell it to this law firm because it can do this one cool thing. That is absolutely antithetical to what we're trying to accomplish with hats. You're not selling it to a client to do one thing. It is a whole lot, and every person can derive their own value from it. So this course sets each individual person up to build cool things and make cool decisions with AI and adopt it at their own pace so that it's not just, well, our company is using it for this thing. It's everyone can find their own value. So that's we really want to drive everyone to this AI champion certification. If you haven't done it yet, highly recommend checking that out.
Yeah. Alrighty. And now we're in November. So, automatic tool selection, we're going to talk about that. Um, I kind of skipped over it in the previous months, but we did a lot of work around spreadsheets, and not just, creating spreadsheets, uploading spreadsheets, analyzing spreadsheets, but like really some cool things that we can do with the code execution tool, the Excel tool, which is now a part of the Microsoft All-in-One tool. We had a lot of different tools, for lack of a better word. We had a lot of different tools and a lot of different ways that we worked with spreadsheets this year. And this is one that, again, for me personally, as an operations person, as somebody who, lives and dies by my spreadsheets, this was a functionality that I thought was really cool to see, not just the Hatz platform develop with this year, but also just the AI space as a whole. You can do some really cool things with spreadsheets and with data and data analytics and taking that data out of a spreadsheet and getting it to, be something visually a little bit more useful. But so in November, we did another huge update and actually in December, we did some huge updates to code execution and formerly code interpreter. Also, that kind of flows into the SharePoint integration. That was a big one that partners were requesting for a long time. So SharePoint was very exciting for us. And then also, I kind of said it on the last month, but we stopped operating in just, the features that we've released and more overall themes because we're releasing so many features to help meet those themes. And so customization was a big word for us in November and some custom email templates, as well as reordering workflow and app inputs and outputs was another big one that I wanted to highlight here. Okay, so automatic tool selection. This little auto tool toggle bar, um, it can still select up to three tools, so it will select them for you. And let AI determine what the best tools are for the job. So turn on that little auto tool toggle, and from there, you can just, start having a conversation with AI in the chat and allow the chat to operate and find the tools that you need. I find myself toggling this on more than I use the tool selector at this point. I use the Hats platform for a lot of our integrations, things like Stripe, things like Salesforce, things like, the Outlook integration, now O365 itself. So that auto tool toggle is extremely powerful and something that I really encourage you to test out, especially for yourself or for your end customers as they're first getting comfortable with AI. It's kind of similar to Workshop Assistant, where it takes the thinking out of it even more, right? It'll just kind of help get you to where you need to go. So that auto tool toggle is also something great in November.
Just quickly, we also launched the Navigator certification. This is literally, I'm saying this in all caps, even though I'm saying it calmly. This is the onboarding for hats. This gets updated regularly. So if there's a video that gets outdated because of a new UI change or something, we update those videos and you can hand this off to all of your clients and say, go through this. We get questions all the time. Can you do an onboarding for our clients? 1,000 partners, 20 clients each. There's not enough people to do that. There's not enough time in the year to do dedicated onboarding for every individual client. This is it. We recorded it. This is exactly what we would talk about, exactly how we would do it. This is your in-platform onboarding that every person can go through at their own pace. It covers everything that you see here, from a kickoff call to a 30-day check-in, 60-day check-in, how to use the chat, how to build apps, how to build workflows, how to build agents. All of that is covered in this course. It takes less than an hour. So this is everyone should be doing this, and it does get updated. So if you took it and now you see something different in the platform, don't worry, the videos are updated.
Yeah, and I will say, just I know we're running close on time here, but taking those courses, Mark too, I believe some of the
Mhm.
videos from that are available on the YouTube, and we didn't talk about the YouTube really
Yeah.
at all today. And I know we talk about that most weeks, but The YouTube videos, Mark puts out really good content on specific areas of the platform, or whether it be, how to build a workflow or whatever it may be. Those are extremely, extremely helpful. And I know sometimes our default is like, oh, let me just get on the phone with someone. I promise you, Mark's videos actually are probably even more efficient. He goes through them step by step, explains what's there, and they're referenceable, right? So just like how Lark Meeper is available 24/7, those YouTube videos are also always there, and feel free to share those with your end customers as well. I know we post Feature Fridays and some partner specific stuff on our YouTube. However, we never talk about pricing. We never talk about anything, too sensitive. So don't be afraid to share those out as well.
Yeah.
Alrighty, in December, even though it's the 26th, then we're not through the month. This kind of runs with the theme that every month there's more and more and more. And it will continue to look like this into the new year. I'm not going to actually go step by step through all of these because of time and whatever it may be. But I will say last week's Feature Friday was huge. If you are specifically an MSP admin as well, we talked a lot about how our goal into the new year is, not only visibility into usage, but visibility into what your end customers are doing. Our theme into the new year is making sure that our partners feel as though they have full control, full visibility, and are set up in ways to scale not only internally, but to bring on as many end customers as possible. Our job is to make your job easier when selling AI. So you'll see a lot of those features and improvements that are coming in the next few months are really done with our MSP partners in mind. There's a reason we pushed the usage dashboard to be the end of Hatz. It's probably our most requested feature in the last quarter. And as we've discussed throughout this call, feedback, posting on our Canny board. We've had a few partners this week, which I loved, that sent really good use cases or really good improvements to Lark Meeper. Maybe not necessarily for support, but giving us permission to share. So we would love to highlight your workflow and the things that you're doing that are helping in the new year. Feature Fridays are only going to get better. We're only going to have more content. Mark, Kelsey, and I are working on, all sorts of fun ways that we can engage, play with new features, review old features, dive deeper into integrations, dive deeper into certain workflows. And right, we're here to partner with you to continue to make Hats the best platform it can be. As I said, this December list, super long, which is crazy because we're not doing two releases in December. But, you know, we're going to keep doing a lot. And Mark, if you could just go to the next slide, I think I have. Oh, sorry, Mark. I
Oh,
just cut you
oh
off.
no, just go ahead, Allie.
No, you go. You go.
This is not a certification. This is in the Learning Portal, though. If you click on Learning Portal and go to Hat's AI Skills, this again, this gets updated. We just got rid of Python code interpreter, and now we have code execution. So that video is updated. It's a whole new video. These things get updated as the new Adele phone agent got updated on Tuesday. So if you're like, I wonder how to do this one specific thing, go check out this. And if you see something that's not there, just send a message. Hey, it'd be great to have a video for this. I'll make one. I promise. Just let us know that it's missing and we'll put one in there.
Alrighty, I just want to highlight a reminder because I promised I would say this every week until everyone hated me. The Microsoft tools, Excel, Teams, and OneDrive and SharePoint are going away. This is not until February 6th. You have time. But if you're on today and you're working from wherever you may be working from and have some time to go in and tweak your workflows or your agents, these tools will be going away, and they are now become Microsoft 365. Mark, if you could go to the next slide, and I'm sorry that you're driving right now and I'm not. The same goes for code execution. There is no longer Python code interpreter. If you don't know what that is and you're not using it anywhere, then ignore me. Same logo. Code execution is a new tool. It's faster, smarter. The sandbox stays active longer. I could go on for hours about how much better this tool is than the last one. In typical Hats, we love to make improvements, but with this tool going away, and Mark, sorry if you could go to the next slide as well. Python code interpreter is now code execution. It's gone if you're using it in chat, but similar to Microsoft, if you have old workflows and agents using this tool, you need to go in and switch them before February 6th. Mark, one more time on the slide. We're sunsetting them. Nothing happens today. Nothing will automatically change to this tool. Um, However, they will be sunset on February 5th. February 6th, the new tools will have to be the default. This is what you should do next. Encourage your users to use the O365 tool and just go through and make sure that nothing's using Python code interpreter. Now, the next question I get, I feel like every time we go through this is, well, how do we know what we're using? And Mark, I think there's one more slide
Yeah.
on this. We will pull a report of workflows and agents using these tools, and we will communicate with you in the new year things that need to be switched, and do the best that we can, to assist the team. Our engineering team will give us that data, and Mark and I will communicate with you for those that need to be communicated with.
Um, I added the slide in at the very end. I just wanted to give a little sneak preview to this. Was planned for 2026. Well, we're not going to talk features for 2026 right now. We have a minute left. But I do want to say, Ali and I have been working on some really cool workflows, agents, things to use those features that we talked about. And really specifically about those engagement reports. So go back and watch if you didn't check it out, go back and watch the video from last Feature Friday where Ali does a really deep dive into the new MSP admin reporting and how you can export that. But then what do you do with that? We have four workflows that we're going to be, or agents or whatever, that we're going to be releasing over the next month. So every Feature Friday, we'll have a new workflow, a new agent, something for you to check out and try to derive info, key insights, useful information, actionable information from those reports right in the Hatz platform. So that's coming in January. And as my eighth grade biology teacher said, life is cumulative and so is my class. Um, this is the same for hats, right? One feature can build on the next feature and then on the next feature. So we're trying to take all of the things that we did in 2025, the really cool parts, make use of those in these workflows and these agents so you can see how these different features stack and really get a lot of cool value out of those. So that's my 2 cents on that, Ali.
Yeah, and I think our final plug of all of the resources, take the trainings, stay up
Yeah.
to date with future release emails. If you do anything from this call today, then you have not yet. Sign up for our new feature updates and announcements. We are only going to release more and more in the new year. Mark and I and Kelsey are very excited to not only get you new content, that you can use internally, for training or to understand what's going on, but to really figure out how to take all of the great information that we can provide you and allow you to repurpose it to your customers. We also are really looking forward to in the new year highlighting some use cases that our partners are doing. So if you're doing something cool and you want us to feature you, let us know, and be on the lookout. I know we're a minute over. Be on the lookout for all of the fun things we have coming in the new year. Check in with us. Let us know what you want to see. Let us know what you liked this year. Let us know what you didn't like this year. And let us know how we can best support you. And we will not, Mark, there's no Feature Friday next Friday.
I don't believe so. I think we're
Okay.
taking next week off.
Okay.
Let me stop
So,
sharing.
so everybody have a happy, healthy, and safe new year. We can't wait to get on with you guys in January. And I will say, because I was just talking to the engineers before that, January we will be hitting the ground running with great stuff as well. So get excited, and we'll see everybody in the new year.
Thanks for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Everyone.
Bye.